To ruin my life over a $5 fine. Not $500, not $5,000, literally $5. But here's the thing. When I didn't pay, they escalated like some wannabe mafia. Everything blew up the day their so-called HOA cops broke into my house, not knowing my son, a Special Forces veteran, was inside. Before we go further, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this goes. It began with a letter. Failure to pay your $5 fine will result in legal action. I stared at it, incredulous. The alleged violation was ridiculous. A decorative infraction because my wooden bird feeder didn't match the community's aesthetic. At first I laughed, figured it was a typo. Who chases someone over the price of a sandwich? But this HOA wasn't normal. The president, Lorna Wells, ran the thing like a private government. She had a little crew of men who strutted around the neighborhood in black uniforms with HOA security patches. They weren't real officers, but they carried radios, tasers, and cheap knockoff badges they'd flash at people. It began with intimidation letters, then weekly fines that climbed from $5 to $50 to $150. When I refused to pay on principle, the harassment worsened. They started showing up on my lawn, snapping photos, leaning over my fence. My wife was terrified whenever she saw them parked at the end of our driveway. Then it got weirder. I caught one leaving a flyer with a fake payment link. They'd made a bogus portal that looked like the official HOA site, but the money routed to a personal account. That's not just shady. That's wire fraud. I realized this was bigger than a silly fine, but I wasn't the only one prepared to deal with it. My son, Luke, had just returned from deployment. He's Special Forces. Disciplined, sharp, not easily intimidated. He told me flat out, "Dad, these aren't just power-hungry neighbors. They're running a scam, and scams escalate when you push back. Let me handle surveillance." So while I played the clueless homeowner, Luke set up cameras, logged license plates, and started building a file. We weren't going to fight this HOA at meetings. We were preparing to expose an operation. Then one day it all boiled over. The breaking point came on a Saturday. I was upstairs reading when I noticed flashlights bouncing across the lawn through the blinds. At first I thought it was kids, then I saw the black uniforms. 3 of the so-called HOA cops were prowling my property like they owned it. Luke was already awake. The man has instincts I'll never understand. He stood in the dark by the stairwell, calm as a coiled spring, whispering, "Dad, don't panic. Let's see what they're here for." I peered through the slats and watched them circle the back porch. One pulled out what looked like a crowbar. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a bluff. They were about to force entry over a $5 fine. If you're enjoying this HOA saga so far, like and subscribe. It only gets wilder. The crowbar wedged under the lock and the back door creaked. Luke shot me a look and put a finger to his lips, then slipped into the hallway shadows like a predator. The door crashed open. 3 men in black barged in, pretending to be law enforcement. One barked, "Search the house." He thinks he can ignore our authority. "Not tonight," someone answered. Their mistake. The first man through didn't see Luke. My son moved like lightning. He grabbed the guy's wrist, twisted it, and the crowbar clanged to the floor. In one fluid motion, Luke shoved him against the wall and elbowed him hard in the gut. The man collapsed, wheezing. The second attacker lunged with a baton. Luke sidestepped, grabbed the arm, and with a textbook judo throw slammed him onto the hardwood so hard the walls shook. The man howled, clutching his shoulder. The third froze, realizing they were out of their depth. He stammered, "This is HOA business. You can't touch us." Luke stepped in, eyes steely. "You broke into the wrong house," he said, then swept the man's legs and pinned him face first to the floor with his boot pressing the shoulder blades. From the stairs my heart pounded, but I couldn't stop staring. It wasn't a brawl. It was controlled, professional. Luke didn't fight like some hothead. He neutralized them cleanly, one by one, with no wasted movement. The intruders groaned on the floor, gasping. Luke leaned close to the last one and snarled, "You came in here armed, impersonating officers, and tried to break in over a fake fine. That's at least 3 felonies. You're not walking away from this." I finally found my voice and dialed 911. I told the dispatcher straight, "This is a home invasion. 3 armed men in fake uniforms. My son has them subdued. Send police now!" Luke kept them pinned, calm as a stone, until red and blue lights flashed through the blinds. That's when the HOA's little police force started to unravel. The squad cars skidded to a stop and real officers rushed in, guns drawn, sweeping the hallway to find Luke standing tall, boot on one intruder's back while the others groaned. An officer shouted, "Step back!" Luke raised his hand, steady. "Relax, officer," he said. The police found that these men had broken in, impersonated law enforcement, and were armed. They cuffed the three without hesitation. "You're under arrest for breaking and entering, assault, and impersonating officers," one officer said. The leader sputtered, "We were authorized by the HOA. This is official business." An officer looked at him like he'd lost his mind. "You're trespassers, and that uniform isn't real. It's just stitched on." As they read the rights, neighbors gathered, porch lights flipping on up and down the street. Whispers spread fast. The HOA's private cops had been busted. One officer turned to Luke. "Sir, you moved like you've done this before. Who are you?" Luke offered a faint smirk. "U.S. Army Special Forces retired." The words hit like thunder. Neighbors gasped. Some who'd quietly backed the HOA looked ashamed, others cheered. From the squad car, the arrested men shouted, "Lorna Wells told us to." My stomach clenched. Lorna Wells, the HOA president on a power trip for years, had crossed a line by sending armed enforcers into my home. The officers didn't waste time. They called for a supervisor, and within minutes Lorna was being dragged out of her mansion across the cul-de-sac, bathrobe flying, shrieking, "This is a misunderstanding. They were only collecting dues." The supervisor cut her off cold. "Lady, what you did is criminal solicitation. You sent men to impersonate officers, break into a private residence, and threaten a homeowner. You're done." I'll never forget her face as the cuffs snapped shut. The fallout was immediate. Lorna was charged with conspiracy, trespassing, and ordering an unlawful entry. The fake cops faced felony charges for impersonation and home invasion. The county prosecutor called me the next day saying this case would set a precedent. Through it all, Luke stayed steady. No bragging, no chest beating. Just, later, "Dad, bullies are the same everywhere. Doesn't matter if it's a foreign desert or a neighborhood with picket fences. You stand your ground." The HOA thought they could send fake cops to scare me. Instead, they were exposed, arrested, and brought down by my son. And believe me, this neighborhood will never forget what happened.